Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband.
Overall, before we get to that, the response has just been brutal, okay? Everyone is calling her out. They're saying that the look is wrong. People are making fun of saying that she looks like she came dressed up as the assassin that was walking up the stairs, allegedly. All right, you guys, straight to jail, straight to jail. For questioning at least Erika. I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really, you'll be wasting your breath.
So Erika Kirk is done playing internet games, and she made that clear when she allegedly dragged Candace Owens to court for a $10 million libel and defamation lawsuit. And it's gotten to the point where even Candace's husband is tired of her BS, and he's allegedly backing Erika's defamation lawsuit against her. Maybe that'll finally get her to back off and stop making her entire career about dragging a grieving widow. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. For the last 6 months, Candace has been on a wild campaign against Erika Kirk, even dedicating an entire investigative series to her. That much is true. However, despite all of that, Candace has never outright said that Erika unalived her husband. All she has done is take publicly available information and make content out of it. And that's not exactly what you need to win a defamation or libel lawsuit. So now people are wondering what this lawsuit is really about. Is Erika trying to get justice for herself, or is this just another opportunity to get the spotlights back on her?
I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the hand-picked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it.
So Erika Kirk isn't even pretending to be civil with Candace Owens anymore. I mean, they've been throwing shots at each other for a while now, but they at least pretended to want to understand each other for the sake of Charlie. But all of that went out of the window the moment Erika got caught up in the White House correspondents' dinner shooting. Because a few days after the incident, Erika went on the Charlie Kirk show to address several things, including the shooting itself and what she believed was the cause, people's reactions to it, and most importantly, her beef with Candace Owens. She outright said that the internet is part of everything that's wrong with the world right now because people have been relentlessly attacking her for the last few months.
I have to tell you, we have an even bigger problem when it comes to the systemic indoctrination and radicalization of our own citizens. This is what got my husband killed.
She even name-dropped Drusky, saying his white-faced skit really hurt her. But it was what she said about Candace that really made people pause. Because, according to Erika, Candace had repeatedly accused her of unaliving her husband, Charlie Kirk.
Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on.
And that part really got people riled up because you could tell that that was what Erika really wanted to say from the beginning. She talked for 9 minutes, but she barely even addressed any of the real concerns surrounding her, TPUSA, or even the correspondents' dinner. She called out the press, accused them of dehumanizing her, but every road led right back to that accusation against Candace. And that's when people started side-eyeing the whole situation, because it seemed like Erika had a personal score to settle, and she wanted to drag Candace right to the middle. Now let's be real, Erika didn't just wake up one day and decide to go off like that, because ever since Charlie Kirk died, Candace Owens has been jumping from one theory to another, and each one somehow pulled more people into the situation. One minute, it was whispers about US government involvement, then suddenly it was Israel, then France, and every time she spoke on it, the claims just kept getting heavier. So naturally, that started dragging in people around Charlie too, especially TPUSA and the people closest to Charlie. She accused members of lying, betraying him, even mishandling money behind the scenes. And once that door opened, it didn't take long before Erika's name got pulled right into it. And when Candace talked about Erika, it was direct. She painted her as someone you couldn't trust, someone hiding things, someone who needed to be looked into. At one point, she even went as far as saying Erika should be arrested and questioned in connection to Charlie's death, and that alone had people already picking sides before any proof was ever shown.
All right, you guys, straight to jail, straight to jail. For questioning at least Erika. I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. If the situations were reversed, and there were this many verifiable lies that Charlie told regarding the murder or assassination of his wife, Charlie would be in prison awaiting trial. And I actually agree with that assessment. We are way beyond coincidence. This is now a full-blown conspiracy.
But then Candace took it a step further. She launched that whole Bride of Chucky series. And that's when it started feeling personal, because she didn't just stick to recent events. She went all the way back, digging into Erika's past, her family, how she was raised, who she's been connected to. She was basically calling Erika everything short of dangerous, accusing her of lying about her background, hinting at ties to powerful men like Epstein, even suggesting connections to trafficking networks. And once those kinds of claims are out there, they don't just disappear. So by the time Erika finally sat down for that statement, this wasn't just about one comment or one accusation. She had a whole case file against Candace. But of course, Candace wasn't about to let that statement slide. The second Erika's comments started circulating, Candace jumped straight onto Twitter and doubled down. She wrote, "Very uncomfortable to watch. Painful prompter read. A speech clearly written by someone else. Objectively terrible, so they will now pay for people to tell us otherwise. Also, of everything I've said about Erika, she chooses to respond to something I never said. They always lie." And that last part made people stop scrolling, because technically, Candace never came out and directly said Erika was responsible for Charlie's death. Not in a clean, direct statement. But at the same time, with all the theories, the accusations, the insinuations she's been putting out for months, people had already connected those dots on their own. So when Erika said it out loud, it felt like she was responding to the tone Candace had been setting this whole time. But Candace didn't even try to meet her halfway. Instead, she went onto her podcast and doubled down again, insisting she had never lied about Erika, not once.
So yeah, across the board, people are laughing, they're mocking it, they're saying it was, you're lying, and also it's just weird. It was weird and it was awkward. And speaking of the lying, which, like I said, many people called out right away, as that person said, "I've never made that statement on this podcast."
And you could tell at that point she was positioning this as a credibility battle. Who's telling the truth and who can actually prove it? Because accusing Candace of defamation is one thing, but proving she's legally liable is a whole different game. And that's where things started getting uncomfortable for Erika. Now, the second Candace pushed back like that, Erika's side didn't stay quiet. Almost immediately, receipts started floating around. One in particular started getting passed around fast, and it allegedly showed Candace texting a former TPUSA employee right before that sit-down meeting with Erika. Now, as you guys probably know, that meeting was supposed to be the moment where both sides cleared the air. At least publicly, it was framed like they were going to hear each other out and settle things privately. But that screenshot told a very different story, because in the exchange, the employee asked Candace what she plans to say to Erika during the meeting. And Candace responds, "I'm asking everything. First question, why did you murder your husband?" With crying emojis right after it. And the second that line hit the internet, everything shifted again. Because for Erika's supporters, that was it. That was the proof they felt they'd been waiting for. To them, it didn't matter if it was framed casually or not. That kind of statement, even as a joke, fed directly into the narrative Candace had been building for months. But Candace wasn't about to let that sit either. She came right back and shut it down, saying people were reaching hard. According to her, the emojis made it obvious that it wasn't serious. It was sarcasm. And she basically argued that if this is what Erika is holding on to for a defamation case, then it already falls apart before it even gets in front of a judge. Now here's the part that really threw everything off. Even with all this pressure building, including whispers that her own husband might be siding with Erika, Candace still didn't flinch. She didn't take anything down, didn't soften her tone. If anything, she came back even sharper and started asking Erika some pointed questions, like why she was even at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in the first place. As you guys probably know, Charlie Kirk openly disliked the press and mocked that event more than once. So Candace leaned into that hard, basically implying that Erika being there didn't line up with everything Charlie stood for.
The reason that she gives for people asking that question, why did you go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner? You literally just said you couldn't do your UGA commitment because there were credible threats and you couldn't trust the Secret Service to absolve them. Then you did an event with Trump, which relied upon the Secret Service, and then now you're doing another event, and it's like a press event, right? That actually Charlie hated. He always made fun of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So why do you feel obliged to show up here?
And then she pushed it further. She called out what she saw as hypocrisy, pointing to how Erika criticized journalists for recording during the shooting, while someone from TPUSA's own circle did the same thing during Charlie's incident. But Candace didn't stop there.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie.
She also zeroed in on Erika's own words, because on one hand, Erika claimed she was staying above the noise, not reading headlines, focusing on her family and the organization. But then, in the same breath, she said she went to that dinner to confront the very journalists she supposedly wasn't paying attention to. And that contradiction, Candace kept pressing on it.
Pretty sure that when she sat down with Caroline Levitt on stage at a Turning Point event, she says that she didn't read the headlines, she doesn't care, she's completely removed. We've been told over and over again that she's just not aware. of what's going on. Now she's saying, I actually went to this event because I needed to confront these journalists who day in and day out, I actually know their names, which is more than I can say. I actually don't know the names of all journalists who write articles about me. I don't care to learn about their lives. I actually virtually never give them statements. Like my PR isn't open.
By that point, you could tell she wasn't taking the lawsuit seriously at all. To her, this didn't look like someone protecting their name. It looked like someone trying to control the narrative and pull attention back onto themselves.